The following podcast contains content warnings for genre-typical violence, child death, beheading, self-harm, immolation, and drug use. Please listen responsibly.
Welcome to Table It, a micro RPG podcast. My name is Tim, and I'm one of the hosts and the editor of this production. Table It is an excuse to get my friends Max, Matt, and Manny to play micro RPGs with me. We're all interested in game design as well as actual play, so each game will get a review at the end. Stick around to hear our opinions, as well as if we put this game back on the shelf, or if we would table it and try it again. So this time we are playing Slash by Manny Elliot. Our very own Manny Elliot.
Hey, that's me. There's a figure moving around in this like sort of darkened kitchen with a butcher knife.
Just breathing. I'm watching. I'm not going to say anything, and I'm not going to make a noise.
You're not saying anything. You're not watching or making a noise.
Oh, I'm watching for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not speaking, and I'm not moving.
You're not watching or making a noise. As you are watching, you see a second figure. This larger figure with a knife, and he's got a ski mask over his head, over his face, is like creeping around like the kitchen island. And you see a second figure on their hands and knees crawling around the kitchen island. So think Jurassic Park in the like velociraptors sort of thing.
Someone else hiding in here.
And you know this person. This is Devin Sweeney. She has what looks like a cut across her forehead, and she's cradling her arm where her shirt is cut, and you can see more blood on her arm.
Okay, I am going to very quietly push the door open of the pantry and try to avoid notice and step out and crouch and come up next to her.
Definitely going
That's
to be
a roll for sure. I don't think my trope applies. I don't think being a nerd helps. I don't think having a good memory helps. I'm also scared of the dark.
Yep. So this is going to be
that's
1.
Right.
And you're trying to beat a 4 at this point.
Oh, no. It's a 3.
Oh, woof.
Okay.
So that is a failure, and you lose a survivor point.
Okay.
Question for you. Mm-hmm. I'm on this floor, right?
You're on this floor, and you heard the scream, and I'm assuming you're heading towards the scream.
Yeah, that was the plan. Okay, cool.
Right.
Okay, cool. So you creak this open, and as you step out, you forget that these pantries are modular, so they're not built into the walls. And there's a step down, and you step down and tumble into Devin, and she screams and you scream, and you hear the person in the black hood scream, and then you hear a third voice say, "Cut!" And Devin stands up and is like, "What the hell?" And the guy in the mask takes his mask off, and you recognize this as Devin's boyfriend, Billy McNeil.
What?
And she says, "What the hell? Cordy, what are you doing? What are you doing here?"
Devin, I'm hi, his name's Billy.
Yeah.
Hi, Billy. My name's Cordy. What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be part of the overnight mandatory overtime crew.
And then at that point, you, Tanner, arrive and see a guy that you know from school. You probably get your weed from the same place.
I come around the corner with my little tiny shiv at the ready, just like, ugh!
And you startle this kid. He is wearing a beanie, has very pale skin, and looks super serious. He's wearing like a black turtleneck, even though it's the middle of summer. And he has a camcorder, or like a handheld camera, and he's like, whoa, jeez, wait, hey, Tanner, is that you? And he kind of like gives you a big, bro grabs you, and he's like, "What are you doing here, man?"
What's this guy? This is Billy.
This guy's name is Tyler Gilmore.
Tyler.
Billy and Tyler.
Yeah,
the director.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey Tyler. I work here actually.
Oh, cool. I do too, he says.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, that was a lie.
You're not wearing the mandatory blue polo.
That's true. Sorry.
I mean, unless there's new rules, in which case I'll happily put on some sort of fancy turtleneck like you got on.
Oh, yeah, this old thing, I've had this in my closet like forever, and it reaches down and tears the tag off of it. That was clearly he had forgotten about. He says, we're making a movie. It's kind of hush-hush, because...
I mean, you guys have been... It's not very hush. You guys have been doing a lot of screaming.
Well, we didn't think anyone would be in here. Yeah, Devin said that you guys closed at like 9 and that no one was going to be here, and we needed a set. And by this point, everyone's kind of in the fake kitchen.
But Devin, didn't you read the all staff company wide memo about the mandatory overnight overtime and how there was going to be free pizza and stuff for people who had to work overnight? Anyway, that's what Tanner and I are doing.
Oh no, I didn't read that. I haven't been to work in like 3 days.
Oh, is the movie for your Instagram?
And she kind of looks over at Tyler, and he says, well, it's kind of a senior project for like, my I want to apply to film school, and this is what it's, it's a short like 20-minute thing. And Billy's like, did I hear free pizza? So there's pizza here? Yes?
Only if you're part of the mandatory overnight crew.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not you guys. I'm sorry.
And
like, Flo's very cool, but I think... I'm not saying she's a narc or a snitch, but I also don't want to put her in that kind of position.
And Devin says, okay, so, what do I need to do to make sure this stays between just the 5 of us?
Money.
And she looks at Billy, and she's like, you heard him, Billy. Pay the man. And Billy's like, wait, so I am losing money and I'm not getting pizza? Is that what I'm hearing here?
Well, if you give us a big enough bribe, because this is a bribe, legally speaking, then I'll smuggle you some pizza.
Okay.
Excuse me, hi, QWERTY here. I have a potential suggestion. We have mini boxes to take apart and put back together, and not enough people to do it. If you guys want to come help us and get it done faster, then we can all leave earlier.
And they kind of look at each other, and they're like, could we still, like... Tyler says, so could we still like maybe stay a little bit and we're almost done. We've got like 2 shots. We just got the kill shot left. Could we stay and do that like either before or after we helped you guys?
Yeah, that'd be after. That'd be,
and if you're part of the work crew,
then you get pizza.
You get pizza.
Awesome. Yeah. I can do that. And Billy is like excited. He's like, I am starving. And he goes and he like picks up his Letterman jacket and throws it on. He's like, and throws an arm around Devin. He's like, let's go, babe. Let's get some pizza. And she's like, oh my God, Billy, I am like covered in corn syrup. Can I wash up first? And they're like, I guess. What did you guys think? Like,
of your movie?
Well, I mean, and she's like, if I'm going to help you guys put together furniture, I don't want to be covered. I don't want to be all sticky and stuff.
Yeah, you probably don't want the furniture to be sticky either. So yeah, that's probably a good idea. Do you have your mandatory blue polo on hand? Because you could just put that on and then you'd not be sticky.
I do not.
I don't have any other clothes. Do you bring extra clothes? Cordy, do you bring extra clothes?
I'm not typically in the habit of bringing extra clothes, unfortunately. But listen, not all of these sinks work, but that one over there does. I know for sure. And I like point out towards like a kitchen utility sink, and I'm like, you can wash up over there.
Okay, cool. And she says, "Where are you guys doing this?"
Down in
It's floor 3, I think.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll meet you guys there. And she goes off, and then Billy's like, "All right, where to, my dudes?"
Great. Cool.
Oh yeah. So then Tanner just starts leading the way down.
Yeah,
to
we're all
the...
trooping back downstairs to
Yeah.
put some furniture together.
You troop back downstairs to put furniture together, and you make some headway with Billy and Tyler's help. Tyler has his little like director's bag with the equipment, and there's like a boom mic in there, and he like disassembles everything, puts it back, and he's helping you guys put it together. And they're just, after a few minutes, they're like, "Yeah, this is nice. This is way nicer than like the normal skilled stuff."
I know, right? It only takes like a quarter as many bolts to keep together.
Why did they send us so many then? And they're like looking at this.
I don't know, man. I think it's for the customers to be safer, so they don't fall over on their children or whatever.
The customers fall over on their children?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Whoa. What's it like working at Skilt, man? This is Billy talking.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks. But sometimes there's pizza, and most
That's
of the time,
why,
it
my
sucks.
dude, that's why I'm going to play football and get out of this town, man.
Good
I'm
luck.
going to be a famous footballer. It's been about 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, QWERTY and Tyler are just like, "Can you believe these guys?" Like, real meeting of the minds over here.
Right?
They're
Both
trying to
so
put,
dumb.
like, two, they're trying to put like two female ends together.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the screws and stuff.
Cordy leans over to Tyler in his like black turtleneck beatnik outfit and is like, "Yeah, so I don't know. I guess I don't mind working at Skult, but I don't know, man. I'm getting pretty hungry." So Tanner gave me one of his marijuana cigarettes, and I bet he
Okay,
probably
dude, they're
has.
called joints.
Well,
What? You sound like my mom.
I don't know. Maybe your mom enjoys a joint too. I don't
She
know.
definitely enjoys. Who do you think Tanner gets his weed from? Dude, come on.
Anyway, you should ask him for some. I bet he would share.
Oh no, dude, I'm straight edge.
What is that?
That means I don't drink or do alcohol. Or do drugs. I don't drink or do drugs.
And you listen to.
And I listen to my
music.
mom. And I am a very good boy.
Wow. Maybe that should be me. Maybe I should be a straight edge.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
it like a club?
well, if you go to clubs, they put X's on your hands.
Tanner leaves her. "Oh, you guys talking about being straight edge? Man,
Yeah.
I love getting real high and listening to Minor Threat. That shit rules."
It's been about 15, 20 minutes
Yeah,
at
we're
this
already
point.
moving on mentally. We've only been there for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We should call Flo and get the pizza.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, Flo, this is QWERTY here. Hey, listen, we ended up with some extra staff on the mandatory overtime work crew, and so it's a good thing we got all that extra pizza. Anyway, I just wanted to call with the ETA. QWERTY out.
You hear 10 minutes. Again, yeah, you're getting
Still
piece of
waiting
bait.
by that
Yeah,
door.
yeah. You hear like 10 minutes. West door.
Right.
But Devin hasn't come back yet.
She's probably fun. I'm gonna keep putting together this cool furniture thing. It's like a bunch of shelves, I think, and there's like a chair halfway up it.
Yeah.
I think.
I wonder. Devin, QWERTY here. I don't know if you have your walkie-talkie on you, but it's been a long time. You doing okay up there? You didn't get stuck behind a locked door?
She doesn't have a walkie-talkie on her. Why would she?
Yeah.
But Billy's like, dude, I don't think she carries her work walkie-talkies with her, like, everywhere. You want me to text her?
Oh, yeah, that would be pretty smart. I mean, we're at work, and she had to badge in here, so I sort of figured. But, yeah, feel free to text her.
Yeah, he texts her, and he actually looks and he's like, wow, it's weird. I don't have... Do you have service?
I pull out my phone. I don't know, do I?
You do not.
This place is kind of like a Faraday cage, man.
I don't know what that means, my dude.
So, like, if you get a bunch of metal and you put it into a box shape, it prevents signals from getting out of it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It is like a Faraday cage.
Perfect.
But at that moment, you hear a door slam, and Devin approaches, and you see, like, you're still behind the tarps, and you see kind of her figure walking by. And then she kind of pokes her head in, and it's like, hey, is this, hey guys, how's it going? What's the word on that pizza?
10 minutes.
Awesome. Sounds dope. What do we got here? And she's kind of looking around.
Oh, we got like a bunch of these things, or like red oak or something, and they are very cool.
Norwegian ash, actually.
Oh,
a very special.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Close. Very special custom school exclusive from Klavichum.
Oh, from Katya Klavich?
Yeah.
Oh,
one and the same.
She kind of like goes over and like, so you have a couple pieces, like an armoire by this point, and she kind of strokes it, and she's like, wow, what are all these weird cow things? And you look, and like in the grain of the wood, it's hidden between like the stain and the color of the wood, but in the grain of the wood, it looks like there are images of like cow people, like
Whoa.
into the grain. She's like, these are cool. It's like, I don't know, if you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't see it. And she goes up to touch it, and she still has some of the fake blood like on her wrist, and she touches it, and you notice that the fake blood sticks, whereas the blood that Tanner had spilled before, you couldn't find it. But she's like, oh damn, I got some more corn syrup, and she kind of licks it and like
Wipes it off.
And
This is very curious. One moment, everyone, and I'm gonna stand up and walk over there, and I'm gonna take my trusty box cutter, and I'm gonna also make a little nick on. I'm not gonna do that dumb thing that people do in movies where they like slice a huge gash in their hand for no reason. I'm gonna just take a little prick from my pinky,
I'm
gonna just put it on there and just
put it on it, and it absorbs into the wood, and you feel when your pinky is touching it, you feel like it's drawing it out.
Oh no!
I like yell out.
And then Tyler comes over and he's like, hey man, I used to cut too. Like, if you ever need someone to talk to.
Oh, that's very thoughtful of you. I really appreciate that. I have other vices, I'm afraid. No, this was a test.
Laser lettuce.
Laser lettuce. This is a test. See, look, and I'm then pointing out and comparing like the corn syrup and dish soap and food coloring that just stuck on here, and you can see it's hardly coming off. But this actual blood like sunk in. It's very, very strange.
That's freaky, man.
It's kind of gross.
At this point, you hear a bong from like the inter-store intercom, like kind of go off, and I think it kind of like startles you all.
Yeah.
And you hear a voice come over your walkie-talkie. Oh, hey gang, I believe that's our pizza. Can someone go check on that? I had to go to the little girl's room.
Oh yeah, there's really bad walkie reception in the little girl's room.
Oh, how do you know that?
Tanner just stares into space.
Okay. Hey, Tanner, do you and I want to go get the pizzas?
Yeah, let's do it.
Great.
Cool. So yeah, you leave everyone there, and you guys go to the west door, and you open the door, and there's a guy there around your age. His name is Jason Riggs. He's like, "Hey, I got your pizzas. Do you want me to bring these in for you?" There's kind of a lot of them here. I can bring them in. You guys need paper plates or anything?
Yes, we do.
All right, show me which way.
And we gesture him on in. But wait a minute. Once the door locks, won't it lock behind him? Won't it lock him in?
Oh yeah, probably.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
I'm gonna say QWERTY doesn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you got a perfect memory.
Balls. Yeah, I probably would. Okay, I'd hold an arm.
Okay, so you're gonna stay there.
I'm gonna hold the door.
Okay, you'll stay there at the door, and are going to.
Yeah, I wouldn't have forgot that.
Yeah. You just saved this guy's life.
Yeah, exactly.
So he brings back the pizzas to the room, and he starts setting them up in the break room, and he's like, "So yeah, you guys here all night? Is that what's going on?"
Well, hopefully not all night.
Dope. And he kind of looks around and says, "Do you mind if I grab some water from the sink? I've been driving all night."
Oh, I've got secret Cokes.
Oh, you got secret Cokes, man?
In the closet.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he goes and opens the closet door, and as he does, the body of Devin, her throat has been cut, falls out of the broom closet, and it kind of lands in his arm, and he goes, "Ah!" and kind of throws her to you.
Tanner catches her and then goes, "Ah!"
Yeah, and so there's this hot potato game.
I think he lays her down.
Yeah, lays her down. And then the terror score is going to increase to 5.
Hearing all this yelling, I am abandoning the door and sprinting to the kitchen, the break room.
You sprint to the kitchen, to the break room, and you are running down the hallway, and the door shuts and locks behind you. And you run in and see these two guys, Roger and Tanner, screaming over the dead body of Devin.
I think Tanner is trying to put his hands on the wound, trying to hold the blood in.
Yeah. It's kind of congealed at this point already.
Oh, like she's cold.
Yeah,
cold.
she's cold.
I take one look and I'm like, Devin, you cut this out. I know that you guys had to finish shooting the movie, but this is in really poor taste.
QWERTY, she's cold.
And you hear a voice from behind you that says, "Cut what out?" And you turn around, and Devin and Tyler and Billy are standing in the break room with you. And then she goes, "Damn," and bolts into the store.
Like this wasn't a surprise to her. She was just like, "Oh, damn, the jig is up."
Yeah.
I look at Billy. What happened? What are you?
I
you
don't.
know about
What?
this?
No,
Do you know about
Billy
this?
is for. He's like but she was just. What is she? And you can see his jock brain just kind of slowly shutting down,
winding to a stop.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't understand what's happening. What this is? Did you guys know we were going to be here? This is a joke, right? This is, and he goes and starts shaking her, and he's like, Devin, wake up, Devin.
Wait, hold on. This wasn't a joke from you guys. Isn't this part of the movie? What?
And the lights in the break room go out.
QWERTY screams full on. The tension is already high, and you guys hear a yelp of
screaming bloody murder. You hear the door open, and you know you're not alone in the break room. Someone or something else is in here with you.
Oh man, I'm I've stopped screaming, and I'm fumbling around.
And you
trying to find...
hear footsteps. You hear the door shut. It doesn't lock, but you hear footsteps walking around. Hard-soled shoes on that floor. Just just kind of looking, waiting for you.
Can we see who this person is?
It's just in shadow. Like, you know that there's a person or something in there, but you can't tell what it is. But you know it's between you and the doorway.
Devin? Is that you?
Silence.
What are the other guys doing?
The other guys are like, you can hear their breathing. Everything has just kind of stilled. You can hear this other person's
Fast
like
thinking.
kind of raspy breath.
So, I think Tanner has hidden under the table. And I don't think he's going to move or say anything until his eyes adjust.
Cool. Give me a roll to hide.
All right.
Yeah.
So I get 2. I don't think my fear is relevant here.
I don't think so either.
I don't think my ability of being a stoner or a sick engineer is useful either. So I think I'm just rolling
it's
2.
the 2.
Yeah.
A 6 and a 3.
Yeah, you're able to dive under the table, and I think with that success, you as you do it, you have to like kind of nudge a chair out of the way as you're diving under, and as you do it, that chair scrapes across the floor, and you hear this thing turn, and footsteps like as it's running across the break room. But you're able to dive under under the table, and you hear what sounds like a sharp implement rending through flesh, like a QWERTY, you feel something warm and wet and sticky hit your face, and from your vantage point under the table, something thuds and rolls under the table, and you hear something else in the room fall.
Well, I think Billy and Tyler died.
So this was actually, as what the thing rolls under the table, you kind of crawl to the other end of the table and pull up the little, there's a tablecloth over, you pull up the edge, and Jason, the pizza guy's head, is staring up at you. The thing that you felt hit your face was that blood, and you feel a body fall into you, but you don't feel like a head loll against your shoulder. And everything.
It's just like a headless body.
Just a headless body falls into the three of you, and I think there's another scream as more hot potato is falling.
I am going to scream, shove the body away from me, and just run away.
Yeah, you
I am going
shove.
for the door. I am getting out of this room.
Great. Yeah, and you bolt.
I'm just running.
Billy and Tyler also bolt. Are you going to stay under the table?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, man.
So you all bolt.
I take off.
Yeah, you bolt into the room. The entire store is dark at this point. The emergency lights have like gone out. The other guys pull out their phones, and though there's no service, they start using the flashlight app, and so they can kind of stumble around in the darkness. And one of them turns to you and goes, what how do we get out? How do we get out? Where do we go?
All I would think of is the west door, which we established was like the only way in or out of the building. So I think I'm going to run that way.
Cool. You start running towards the west door, and they're following you. Do you have a cell phone on you?
Yes.
Like, did you pull out?
And I think I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Having
okay.
seen that.
Yeah, you get to the west door, and you find it, and it's locked. Because you let it shut behind you, and you know the only other way out is for to get the code from Randy once the thing is complete.
I grab my phone, and ostensibly we're supposed to be able to text a picture to Randy. So I text Randy as best as I can, like, 911, we need to get out of here. Like, 911, 911, call the cops, like, we need to go. I'm, like, frantically typing it all in.
And it...
Does it go through?
It does not go through.
Damn it!
Yeah. Shifting back to you under the table, you hear those footsteps slow down after this killing of Roger the Pizza Boy.
Rest in peace.
Rest in pizza. And you are there, and you hear footsteps coming around the table, and from your vantage under the tablecloth is kind of like swaying as it crosses by, and you see a shadowy hand reach down and pull up the head, and then after a moment, nothing happens, and then you hear footsteps walk over to the body, and you hear it dragging out of the room and into the store.
I think I'm going to follow, but as quietly as I can.
Give me a roll.
Ooh, that's
so both. Oh, sorry, I misspoke. Both bodies. It grabs both of them.
Oh,
like
okay.
one in each hand.
The body of Devin and the body
And
of
the body of
pizza
Roger.
guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like you hear them both being
Jason?
dragged.
Jason. Yeah.
I think it was Jason the Pizza Boy.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're at 5 now.
Okay. Okay, so I have two thoughts here. One is we need to get out of this building for sure. Mm-hmm. And the way to do that is we're definitely not going to get Randy on the phone.
Yeah.
That man is unconscious already. He's at home, 2 beers in, asleep on the couch.
Sure.
I think we need to break out, and I'm trying to figure out how the best way to do that is.
Cool.
So what I'm going for is I'm going for your toolkit.
Okay. Yeah, it's down in the warehouse area.
Uh-huh.
In the warehouse, or where you were putting together
Where we
display?
were putting together the
Cool.
displays. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go for that toolkit, and I'm going to gather up as much of it as I can, and I'm going to bring it to the west door.
Okay.
Great. Give me a roll.
Okay.
Stealthy, sneaky roll.
I'm trying to
Negotiations.
I'm trying to think of how I can use my amazing skills as a engineer nerd to potentially make a distraction
Yeah.
for myself.
Sure.
Oh, I've got an idea. So under the sink in the break room must be like cleaning supplies.
Yeah, for sure.
So Tanner is going to take some like some kind of like an aerosol can and a piece of tape off of the poster board saying mandatory overnight list of who has to stay. So he's going to take a piece of that tape. He's going to grab just like a chunk of something, like a marker cap.
Okay.
And then he is going to like pin it down into the spray button.
Okay.
And then like pitch it down a hallway.
Okay.
And go the other way.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's just going to go down the hallway.
Great.
Right.
Give me that roll.
So because I'm using my talent,
You'll get to
of
re-roll
engineering,
a
I'll get to
fail.
re-roll a fail. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing too, because I rolled a 2 and a 1.
Oh,
All right.
man.
That's a 4.
4 and a 1.
Okay.
So
And my and the terror level is 5.
5.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a
Wow.
failure.
That's a failure. So you're going to lose 1 survivor point. You're down to 2 now.
I am.
Oh, man.
Great. So you're down to 2. You make this contraption. I think you're alone at this point, and you kind of shake it, and you throw open the door and shake this can and throw it down the hall, and you hear a thump, but not a rattle as it like rolls down the hall because you hit whatever was dragging the bodies out, and you hear the bodies thump on the ground, and you hear those footsteps start coming towards you.
I'm gonna run.
You bolt. Meanwhile, back
Yeah.
at the door, you had just gotten to the door and realized it was locked, and you're trying to get a hold of
And the
Randy.
text won't work. Yeah.
And the texts are not working. Yeah.
I'm going to go for the fire alarms.
The fire alarms?
Because there's got to be big industrial big box building like this. There's got to be some kind of fire alarm, fire exit. emergency get out of this building thing.
You run to the fire alarm and you go to pull it down. And when you pull, give me a roll first.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's maybe a nerdy.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Like, I feel like QWERTY would be a person who cares a lot about fire safety, and like we established,
like you know
earlier,
where it is. Yeah,
like he knows everything in the store. So
yeah,
so that's I rolled 2. I get 1 extra because of the nerd thing.
And I will say this, like, you're running through this in the dark, so, like, I think your fear applies.
That's
so you're kind of, like,
true.
blind panic. So
But could I
it'll just be
also make an
2.
argument for my eidetic memory applying that I know where the fire exits are in the dark?
I'll give it to you.
Maybe it averages out?
Yeah, so, like, you'll still roll 2, but you can re-roll 1.
Got it. Okay. Oh, no. I got a 2 and a 1.
Oof.
And so I should re-roll a 1, right? Because I'm trying to get up to 5.
Either one. You just have to get a 5 or above.
You're not adding the dice together?
Oh, right. Oh, I'm sorry. 3 and a 2.
3. Yeah, I think you're in a blind panic, and you run,
man, I'm down to
and
2.
you to where you know there's a fire alarm, and you're in this blind panic. You're out in sort of. You've made it out into the main building. At this point. Like, abandon the door. You know, I know if I go through this door, it'll put me in, like, kids' bedrooms. And there's a fire alarm right there.
Got it.
Hello? Live.
Cool. So you're running through blind panic in the dark. You know, if you go through this door, you're in children's bedrooms, and there's a fire alarm right across the aisle. You tear through that door, and you trip over a nightstand and kind of like roll in the middle of this bedroom. And as you do, you pull yourself up, and looking around, your phone had gone scattered and rolls under a bed or something. You look up and you're disoriented because it's dark, and you're not in kids' bedrooms. You're in bathrooms. Somehow you got turned around, and you're not sure how it happened. You're also alone.
Oh, my God.
Um,
Oh, my God. Okay.
So we switch back over to Tanner, bolting. Where are you heading? Just trying to run from this person thing. You're not sure what it is.
So, before I get there, where were you in the...
I was at that west door, and I was trying to run to the nearest fire alarm that I knew of. And I thought if I went through a door, I would be in kids' bedrooms.
But you ended up in...
But I got turned around, and now I'm in bathrooms.
Because that's where I was thinking of running to.
The bathrooms?
The bathroom section.
Yeah. You run into the bathroom section, and you see from the employee entrance, QWERTY kind of tumble. You see their phone like get leave their hand and scatter across the bathroom floor, and you hear that thing, that person, something behind you, as like you, and now you're hearing the bodies. It had picked the bodies back up, and you're hearing them drag across the floor around you. What would you like to do?
So I've got a really stupid idea.
Yeah?
Hit it.
I live for stupid ideas.
Hit it.
We're going to lose this thing in the bathrooms because I'm going to make a smoke screen.
Okay.
I think the way to do that is, you said that some of these sinks and whatnot work.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm not smart enough to do this, but I think Tanner's smart enough to, in a panic, whip up some sort of gravity bong.
Amazing.
With what? Glassware and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a soap dispenser.
Sure,
Or
yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Takes the toilet apart.
I think he takes the toilet apart.
Yeah.
And like punches a hole through this thing, and then quickly shove the thing in there, and he packs it full of something.
Yeah.
And then lights it in a
Scrubbing
way that
bubbles
just
or
like
something.
causes plumes of smoke to come out.
Right.
And then he's gonna grab you by the scruff. We're gonna run, and hopefully I roll well enough so I get to do that.
Do it.
Amazing.
So this will be your fear doesn't apply. I think both your trope and your talent apply. So you can,
Yes.
Roll 3 and re-roll 1 failure
Okay.
if you need to.
I rolled a 6, a 1, and a 2.
Amazing.
So I can re-roll one.
Yeah, you can re-roll one if you want to see if you can get critical success.
I got a 3, so just a 6.
Okay.
Just the 6.
One die succeeds.
Right. So you so one die succeeds. You get by it through the skin of your teeth. You hear this person, these footsteps coming behind you, these dragging bodies coming behind you, and you're able to blow up the toilet essentially.
Yeah.
Just
I think the way that it works from my perspective is that he's done a bunch of shit to it while this thing is like walking around, and he's doing it as quietly as possible. And then when it like rounds the corner, he like flushes it and then books it.
yeah, you book it, and it goes off, and you hear a human voice just kind of scream as this smoke bomb goes off. But as it does, it also creates too much, and so now your vision is impaired, and you hear the other guys, Tyler and Billy, kind of being like, what the hell was that, and like running towards, you can't see them yet, but you hear them running towards where that explosion came from and where all that smoke is coming from. And then you hear Billy saying, what the wait, who are you? And then silence. And then you hear Tyler scream and run further into the store. And so everyone is kind of like off in their own.
Off, yeah.
And you hear that person start dragging the bodies away at this point.
Away from us.
Away from you and where you assume Tyler went.
Right. Okay.
And at this point, I think
so Billy,
terror score is 6.
Billy is out of the game.
Billy is out of the game.
Hunger Games canon. And,
That's what the exploding toilet is.
and Tyler is booking it deeper into the store.
Yeah.
Tanner and I are still in bathrooms but can't see each other.
He grabbed you.
He
so
grabbed me,
like
okay.
you can't really see anything because of this smoke haze, but we'll say after a minute or so it kind of clears and settles enough that like there's still like a low level fog kind of like erupting up.
Do you think that your memory could help navigate blindly through the smoke?
Absolutely. I think I'm like having grabbed onto you and like we're now like hanging on so that we don't get separated. I'm going to be like front door, main level. Because I'm thinking of big, huge glass windows that we could maybe break and get out of this building.
Good plan.
So it is time for me to try to nav us in the dark, which I'm scared of, and also it's smoky. But Tyler ran the other way, and the freaky cow monster is maybe following him and not us.
Well, I will say that it sounded like it was dragging the bodies back towards what the thing that you guys were working on, the display that you guys had worked on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna feed the wood more blood.
So we're booking it towards the front door.
Yeah. Fuck this
Okay.
place. Let's leave.
Let's go. Okay, so does nerd apply? I don't know. Probably not.
I don't think it would. Yeah.
Memory though.
Memory does. So
Yeah. So whoops.
So you'll be rolling 1.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And you can
that's right,
re-roll
it's
it
dark.
because of
because
the dark.
it's dark. I lost it because of my fear.
And
I need to do a 6 or better.
6.
Six
Yeah, you
period.
have to
Oh
have
my
a
god.
6.
Yeah, they're d6s. 5.
5. Oh, woof.
But I can re-roll. Oh, come on, baby. 5!
Oh, no.
Oh, brutal.
You lose a survivor point.
Oh, no. I'm down to 1.
And you head out. You know where you're going, but between the dark and everything happening, you can't find your way. It's almost as if the store is like reconfiguring itself around you. You know you went, because you have an idyllic memory, you know how to get to the right stairwell that'll take you down, and like if you could just get to the front floor, you could break those windows and get out. But you take a turn and you're back in kids' bedrooms this time, and it seems as almost the store is like reconfiguring itself to stop you. and then you keep moving, keep going further into the store. And you take another turn, and you end up on the 5th floor in kitchens again, and it's dark and black, and you can't see. And all of a sudden, from across the aisle in one of the kitchens that you know is fully working, you see a fireball kind of just go up, and you hear a scream, and like you're both kind of blinded by the sudden influx of light as you see in that moment of bright illumination, Tyler had been forced onto one of the stoves, and the stove turned on, and there is a figure holding him onto the stove as he kind of like burns alive.
Oh! Doing everything I can not to scream and draw attention to us. I think Cordy is just sobbing, like just silently sobbing, trying not to scream out in terror.
I think Tanner looks at you, and he's got like a little bit of a smile on his face, just like a light, like we got this kind of grin, and he holds up his shiv of a box cutter.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
And then points at the thing and goes like,
We're gonna fucking die. We're gonna die. We're gonna die in there, Tanner. Are you fucking crazy? I don't normally cuss.
No, you didn't. No, audio listeners love you to death.
Love you to death.
Tanner is nodding aggressively at like we're gonna die and like we're gonna do this. Like we're gonna do this.
So as you two are having this silent argument in another kitchen, kind of huddled behind a refrigerator, the light goes out, and you hear you hear Tyler's body being dragged away, and so the kitchen area is like a floor above where you guys, or a couple floors above where you were working, and the center of the store, kind of like the display that you were putting together was in the center of the store. Okay. So like everything kind of looks down into it, so it's like the focal point of the store. Okay. And you hear his body being dragged, and then you hear a voice go and then silence, and then you hear and then a thump as like what you can assume was Tyler's body being thrown over and falling 3 stories.
Tanner's seizing this moment.
Yeah.
Running in.
Yeah, Tanner's running in. A brief gesture to QWERTY. Like, this is, like, now. And then Tanner's going to run, and he's going to try to grab this thing by the legs and tip it over the rail.
Okay. That's definitely giving me a roll.
For sure. You're an engineer. Application of force.
I don't think that's going to be
It's like judo, man.
It's like judo. Yeah.
I think this engineering was more about like building MacGyver and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be the 2.
I can respect that. And doing a murder is not a very stoner thing.
It's not a very stoner thing.
I will also, while this is happening, I don't know if it helps, but I will finally run up behind you and help you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. So give me a roll.
Is there mechanics for helping each other?
There's not, but I'm just going to do it on the fly. I will say, I'll say you can re-roll a failed.
Okay.
Because all right. I'm just rolling to help, and this is so counter to everything.
So
in me.
So if you succeed, QWERTY, if you succeed, you'll be able to.
So I'm still rolling for a 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're rolling for a 6. Okay.
3.
Woof. So they're helping, but it's not doing a whole lot.
1 and 3. I do not succeed.
Both of you lose a survivor point.
Oh my god. That puts me at 0. So 0? I am now entering the bad decisions table.
Ooh. Yes, go ahead and roll on the bad decisions table.
All right, we are rolling the D6. There are 6 options. I rolled a 5. Leave the group or walk off by yourself.
Yeah. So I think what happens is you both run and try to nudge this person, and It doesn't work. Their back is to you, so you can't see who this person is, but you aren't able to flip them over the thing, and they slash out with you at you with a knife, the box cutter, specifically, and kind of gets you across the arm, and then they turn to you, Tanner, and they get you across the chest, and you guys bolt, I think, kind of bolt, and you're in kitchens at this point, so I think both of you find a place in the kitchen, one of the kitchen displays to hide. Maybe one of you does the, again, Jurassic Park thing where you crawl in the oven and shut it. And so you guys end up separated and for a couple of moments, and then you hear this person's footsteps walking around, like coming within a hair's breadth of both of your hiding places individually, but passing on. And after a few moments, you hear Max or QWERTY. You hear, hey, oh, geez, is anyone out there? Is someone? Did I hear someone? Is QWERTY? Was that you, Tanner? Oh, jeepers! I'm so scared.
Oh no! Oh no!
And she says, "This is Flo again," and she says, "Oh, jeepers! I think I twisted my ankle. Can someone? There's someone out here doing things. I saw someone walking around with a knife."
Oh my god!
And I think your guts kind of go out, and your heart goes out to Flo, this old woman. And she, and you open up your hiding place, and you find her. She's like, she had fallen, and she has a twisted ankle. And you see her. You walk up to her, and she looks up at you and says, "Oh, QWERTY, is that? Thank the Lord. Are you okay? Are you okay, Hannah? Have you been hurt?"
Just keep your voice down. Keep your voice down.
Oh,
and
sure.
I kind of gesture to my arm where I got slashed, and I'm like, I don't know where the others are. What's going on? But we got to get to the front doors. The front doors. And I'm gesturing.
Okay. I don't know if I can stand. Can you help me up?
Yeah, and I try to lift her, I guess.
You try to lift her, and she stands and and is kind of leaning on you, and she says, "Oh, jeepers, I'm so glad I found you. There was a guy with a knife running around, and I couldn't. Oh, no." And she turns, and you see her face kind of drain, and she kind of and at the end of the aisle, you see a figure in a mask that is made up like an elk. With an elk horns and a knife that is walking towards you, and she goes, "Oh, jeepers!" And as it gets closer, she's hobbling along, and I think you're trying to.
Yeah, we're trying to.
You're trying to get away.
At this point, we know we've been seen. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, getting away.
Door.
And again, the store's still doing that thing where it seems to be turning, and you hit a dead end where you turn down what should have been an aisle that would lead to, say, office spaces, but there's just a wall there with you're in between two large refrigerator displays, and he comes down the aisle, and she's just holding you, and she goes, "Oh, jeepers, I'm sorry I had to end this way, QWERTY. You were a good employee."
Well, oh, thanks. Thanks, I guess. You too.
Thank you. Perfect for a sacrifice. And
What?
she shoves you towards the guy who just holds out his knife, and you fall on it. And she looks over and she goes, "Well, this has turned out to be easier than I thought it would be. Let's get him down there with the rest of them."
What?
And she drags you off, and I think you see this, Tanner. You see her drag, now that there is, what is that, 6? I forgot. I did this intentionally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. She, I think if you would like, you can try to follow them, but they, Florence and this person go down to the display.
One little moment as I have been stabbed and am dying and am being dragged to my death into this sacrificial flat pack. Mm-hmm. One final thing I think happens is my best, my prizest, my most expensive box cutter clatters out of my pocket and falls on the floor.
Yeah, Flo picks it up.
Damn it! I was trying to leave you something, man.
I appreciate the thought.
Oh no, yeah, I like that. Yeah. It like as you're like, we'll say as like you get stabbed, you pull it out and you're like trying to do that thing where he's like got you by the throat and he's like stabbing you and you're like reaching back to get him and then he gets another like right in the chest. And you do that and we zoom in as your hand lets go and it ting 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 and that's when they begin to drag the others into downstairs into the clavicomb display. Are you going to follow?
I have an idea, and I'm trying to figure out how to accomplish this. Because I think after hearing all of this, after seeing everything that's happening, the elk horns, the cow print on the furniture, I think Tanner's putting together that like this might be some kind of sacrifice.
Whoa, man!
Wow.
But like they've killed all his friends to do it, so he doesn't appreciate that. That sucks.
Right.
So he wants to ruin this sacrifice in the biggest way possible, and he thinks he needs to light this whole place on fire.
Oh, shit.
Love that.
But like he's like, I don't know if there's any like gasoline anywhere. So I'm trying to figure out how would Tanner figure out how to do a big.
Well,
are these?
Let me tell you. So as they get down, I think they've gone down, and you can kind of look over the edge and see the display is like up now. It's like completed. You're not sure how it got completed, but there is a cedar or like a chest in the middle of the display, and there's like the bed on one side, the armoire on one side, forming a rough like standing stone circle around this chest. And at each point, there are like alcoves in like, you know, the headboard and the armoire and the nightstand and stuff that are all with lit candles in them. And as the bodies of all these all the dead are being placed at the foot of one of these pieces, except for the chest in the middle. And Flo has donned her own elk mask at this point, and like fur cloak, and seems to be singing. And this other person is they're doing this like ancient Norwegian chant and like folk song, and you very clearly know that this is some sort of like sacrifice summoning situation. So that is what you see on the floor below you.
Okay, so I think what I'm thinking about is that I'm in the kitchen area. They've already lit one stove on fire briefly to burn what's his snoot. Was it Tyler?
Yeah, Tyler.
So I think grabbing the incredibly sharp box cutter left by his friend QWERTY, Tanner's going to, holding the bleeding wound in his chest, limp over to that stove and kind of like as quietly as he can pull it out and then cut the gas line. And he's going to start dragging it over towards through the walls.
The stove?
The gas line.
The gas line.
The gas line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I was like, you're going to drag the stove.
No, the stove's disconnected.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm with you now.
So he's going to like start dragging the gas line over towards the like railing leading down. And I don't know how much line I can pull out of the wall.
We're at the end here. Let's say however much you
Yeah,
need.
you could siphon a little bit, like, and then maybe it would siphon out.
Oh no, this is like a methane
or
gas
something.
gas.
Oh, I
stove.
get it.
gas.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
pressurized.
yeah,
Got it,
yeah.
got it,
So it's
got
like
it, got it.
like spraying out. So he's just gonna like pull it over the edge, and then just like wait a bit
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
because they've got candles down there.
Yeah, give me a roll.
Sure.
Give me a roll. I will let your MacGyver bullshit count for
I
this.
love this.
All right.
Also, you probably do have a lighter
I do have a lighter.
if you wanted to add to the.
I think that your stoner would count. Yeah,
Right,
Like,
okay.
I'll give it off
Yeah.
to you. 3, and then you can re-roll 1.
All right, let's try it. This is
Oh
for
my
QWERTY.
God.
That's a 6.
That's a 6.
one
I'm
6.
gonna reroll it too.
Okay,
Yeah.
come on.
It's a 5.
five.
So 1 success.
Not
Cool.
2 successes, though.
So
So I definitely get a cost or a consequence. I have some ideas.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what happens. What you see as you're pulling this over, the chanting starts rising to a fever pitch, and then it stops. And you see both Flo and this other person take off their mask, and the other person is Randy.
I fucking knew it.
As
shit.
the priestess
That shit.
and the eagle-eyed viewers of this film will remember them as the priest or the priestess and the soldier from the beginning, or the warrior from the beginning. And everything stops and it goes eerily quiet. And then the lid of the chest begins to open, and a hand crawls out, a second hand, and a body pulls itself out. Long silver hair in front of their face, and steps out of the box. You notice the face of a beautiful white Scandinavian looking woman in a sheer sort of like flimsy shift and a cowtail. There are words spoken. Basically, Flo says, we, the servants of the hidden folk, the Huldra, offer you these sacrifices in turn that we may partake of your everlasting life. And the Huldra walks up, and she has these like long wicked fingernails and kind of like strokes Flo's cheek and Randy's cheek, and you see her open her mouth, and like rows of sharp fangs descend from her teeth, and she makes her way over to the bodies and is about to start her feast until she hears something and looks up and sees the line, and then sees it slowly descending towards a flame, and she kind of like goes up to it. This is a creature of ancient myth who is not very aware of technology of the modern world, and she takes it and pulls it down to examine it, and as she does, that gas line hits one of the open flames, and she's incinerated. Quickly, the entire store goes up in flames. You hear screams coming from the furniture itself. The Huldra is a protective spirit of the forests of Scandinavia. All of the wood in Skjult, which is Norwegian for hidden, comes from the grove of the Huldra. And so that's what brought her to this world. That's what used her how she was able to use her power and influence. And you hear the screams of all the sacrifices that have gone into this like Norwegian bloodwood as the entire store goes up in flames. You are caught in a raging inferno. What is the cost to you, other than like?
I mean, I think my hair gets burned off.
There's so much grease in it that it just goes up in flames. But you're able with these the Huldra and Flo and Randy burnt to a crisp. You're able to get down to the main floor, and at this point the alarm systems are going off, and you're able to break through probably the fire would explode some of the glass doors, and you're able to get out as the ambulances and fire department pull in, and you are safe. We close the film like kind of fades to black as you being sitting in the ambulance with the shock blanket on and like sipping some cocoa or whatever, just kind of being tended to, and people are like, there's a policeman there kind of trying to get your story, and I think you're in shock and just kind of don't know what to do. And then we fade to black, and the credits begin to roll, and about halfway through the credits, there is a mid-credits scene where we see a new family moving into their home, and we see a nursery being set up and movers bringing in new furniture, and the mother lays down her child in the crib, and as the movers bring in a Clavich home chest that she lovingly strokes and puts at the foot of the baby's crib. And as she exits the room and turns the light off for her little one to sleep, the chest unlocks and the lid starts to slowly open as the screen fades to black.
Setting up this.
Hi, we're back for our review section of Slash by Manny Elliot. Hey, that's me. So we just finished playing. This is only the second time this game has ever been played before, so be gentle. So our first question is what are our likes and our dislikes? I'm probably not going to talk a lot as I wrote the game, and that's just kind of what we do here. So I will open it up to you. What were your likes and dislikes? I'm going to take notes.
All right. Do you have a like or dislike you want to hit off first?
Yeah, a couple of things. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I think it's a love letter to slasher films and horror movies in general. I love the framing of the players as actors and the GM as a director, and setting the framing of it being a film. And, we're in the world of the film. Makes it really fun and really great. Something I didn't really like is I suspect a math problem more than a GMing problem.
Most likely.
Which is that it was, after a certain point, extremely hard to succeed.
Okay.
Right? And some of that is deliberate, I think, because we want to wind down the clock and we want to be losing player characters and NPCs to the, inexorable march of time in a slasher film. But especially by the end, it felt like the whole kind of back half of the game, we had to get 6 or better, and we were always rolling less than 2, or at maximum 2. I mean, we were both up against it, so we were rarely ever rolling 3. And so even with rerolls, it becomes really tough to nail down a 2. And especially if 2 or more dice meet the terror score exactly, the actor succeeds and gains 1 survivor point. If what you're aiming for is double 6s, that's hardly ever going to happen.
And I think my favorite thing is the tension racks up really fast in a nice way. That was really fun. I love I love the terror score as like a kind of rolling success.
Yep.
Although I think you're right with the ending of the game kind of turns into a comedy of errors as you're unable to do anything as you get further and further along. I think in the survivor point section it says if they reach 6 survivor points they become a gender non-specific final girl and are unable to die. I love that as a mechanic.
Yes.
The chances of that happening are
They're high, yeah.
Comically, astronomically low of ever getting that, which is it's next to impossible. Which I think is fun, but not necessarily. For a very small game, you do a decent chunk of it dedicated only to
a thing that will almost
never happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for all of this, and I'll explain that after this.
So yes, I loved it. It was so much fun. I've got a like and a dislike there, I think. As a GM and writer, do you have any likes or dislikes that you feel that you've grown since you've started since you wrote it and have now played it a couple times?
Yeah, I think that you're both right about the mathing is a little off. Maybe losing survivor points needs to be a more needs to be tweaked so that that's a more serious consequence and not just a failing consequence. So maybe, so that's something to think about. One thing that I think I learned from this being the second time GMing is like how little the characters know about what's going on in a horror movie, because we as the audience see everything, and so it's like it was hard killing people while you guys could watch them. So that's something, because I can't. If you watch a horror movie, you're like, oh, they go off alone, and then they never come back, and
you'd have to
come
do
upon
cuts
them
outside of our characters in order just to see the kind of damage.
Kind of a POV issue.
And I don't necessarily think that works well for. It doesn't make an engaging game. So,
I think there might be a way to make that happen, but we'll talk about in the what you could change section.
Ideas about it too, but that was the biggest thing I learned, and then. I think so. One thing that was new to this round was having your likes and your, or not your likes, but your talent and your fears affecting how many dice you were rolling.
I like that.
I love that.
Stuff.
That was really smart.
That was it was a different thing, or a different sort of mechanic the last time, where like you had different skills, and if you were a smart character, you got to reroll your brawn roll or your brains roll and stuff like that, and it was just clunky and didn't work. But this I felt worked a lot smoother.
It is a classic micro RPG of get like a one word thing, and then if it's relevant, roll it. It feels good every time.
It works. It works, and it encourages your players to be thoughtful about the things that they pick. Then also to be creative and negotiable about what they apply.
I was really trying very hard to get your fear of turning into your dad in there.
Yes, you teed it up and everything at one point.
I was like,
when did you tee it up? I wasn't really paying. I don't remember.
Cause you said you were afraid of like being normal and like a white picket fence and like turning into your dad, and I was like, well, you are in IKEA basically with all this like bland furniture, and like you're wearing a polo and like working a 9-to-5 job, and
you had the artsy one or the football one be like talking about scholarships and like getting out of town.
Never quite got there because people started dying like real quickly.
I think I picked one slide too. I think your fear of the dark was the right vibe.
As soon as you said that, I was like, "Well, Max is dead."
For sure. I kind of wanted something of that. Like it needed to be something really tangible that was going to come up.
I regret my choice a little bit, but I definitely felt it kind of rounded my character out in the character creation, which is not a bad thing. But maybe that could be like, pull your fear from a list, and then it'll be things that could come up.
Yep.
I am always in workshop games mode, so
same.
Well, that leads us into our next one. What was this game trying to do, and what, if anything, you would change? It's weird with me sitting here.
I've got a couple things that I would change, but I think this game is trying to do exactly as it says in the tin, is trying to be a slasher movie, the board game, the role-playing game. And I feel it nails that absolutely out of the park. Like every part of this feels like a slasher film. The cast, the crew, the director, the dread. Like it feels like a slasher should. Definitely. I know we played Dread recently. We have opinions locked in that. There's like parts of the tension that Dread does, but this does them differently. And I think it feels more like a slasher than Dread necessarily does. If that makes sense.
I agree with that.
I don't think you could run other horror games as easily in this.
For sure.
Right.
Do you have anything you'd want to change? Any comment on the what it's doing?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what it's trying to do, like I completely agree with that. I love the framing device of it being a film.
That's right. I like that too.
If it were just a general horror game, or like framing itself as just generally in the horror genre, I don't know that would have landed. And in fact, I probably wouldn't have liked it because I would have felt like it pled too much to tropes of slasher movies. I'd have been like, well, why should I have to be a nerd or a jock? Like,
Yeah, that's a great point.
But then if we're in the framing of a slasher movie, then it's like, oh, I know where we are. That's what this is. Okay, now I can lean into it and enjoy. So I super, super like that. I think that's really strong. I really loved the dice pool setup and the way that you did that. I think, we kind of touched already on like having your talent or your trope or your fear applying positively or negatively to the situation. I think that was really, really, really cool. I think the biggest thing I would change is the balance around, your odds of succeeding or not. I feel like if you made maybe the dice pool larger, that's something that occurred to me. You could keep the same modifiers, but if you were playing with a bigger pool to start with, you might have more of an array of possible outcomes. The other thing I was thinking is maybe adding a timed component where, ideally, we know it's a film. We know it has a runtime. We know it's going to be 2 or 3 hours. We know that by the end of the last act, almost everybody needs to have been killed. All right? Those are genre tropes that we know going in. So kind of Blades in the Dark style, is there a kind of like clock that could tick through? And the terror score, I think, is doing that by means of making the dice rolls more difficult. But it would be really interesting, like, to play with that a little bit more. Like, how does that become more of a thing? Or what guides the timing around that terror score ticking up? I think right now it's mostly GM discretion. But what if it was like, in story beats or in game time or even real world play time? Like, okay, if we've been playing for an hour, it's going up, or whatever. I don't quite know what the outcome of that could be, but something to balance it a little bit more in the dice pool, make it maybe a bit bigger, and really lifting up that, like, the clock is ticking kind of quality.
Yeah, I think what I would change is definitely related to what you're talking about, but what I would do is I would unhook the success of a character's action from their survivor points and from the terror score. So that a success is always a success, but like if you're not getting so anything like a 4 and up is a success always. That means that you're not always clown shoesing around trying to do things and failing, but that means that if you don't get the necessary 4 or 5 or 6, the terror score gets higher, your character gets closer to death no matter how they succeed.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, that would be interesting.
So like it's still like you're still ticking towards your slasher death demise, but there's still the possibility of being able to successfully do things.
Yeah, bouncing off of that idea, improving your ability to feel like you're succeeding is interesting. I also think opening the door for the bad decisions table, too, because I think I hit it technically at the very end. I think it would be really interesting if kind of Dread style, if there was a way for you to choose, like, I'm going to sacrifice put all my chips in. I'm going to sacrifice all my survivor points or something in order to have, like, a really cool decision table moment.
Yeah.
That would be neat.
Well, and so that's been the biggest thing is like, where do these bad decisions come in? That's honestly it's been different places in every iteration of this. The goal for that was like, I think the bad decisions people make in horror movies are hysterical. Like, the front door is open. Why did you run up the stairs? Like, that's literally what got you killed. And so I like what you're saying about, like, maybe having somewhere else to do that. Because, like, you're right. You got it at the end. And what if you had rolled, like, you hear a spooky noise and wander off or whatever. Like, it doesn't quite jive. So,
yeah, because, like, we were smack dab in the middle of everything when you rolled your bad decision, and just like you rolled leave the group or walk off by yourself. Well, now we have to walk off by ourselves after you've been killed, kind of mechanically.
In the process.
It was weird.
Also there we were trying to kill the killer, and then. Yeah, okay. That does like put the GM. I mean, I always love decisions that make the GM have to play around. Like that's one of the things I love about Dr. Magnahan so much is like you have to occasionally look at an object that has no business being there and try to figure out how it fits, which is fun. But like okay, how do you like? We were recklessly attacking the killer.
You had already done that.
Yeah, we've already. Like, oh, fuck. We've already picked a bad decision. If you'd rolled 6, that would have just been natural.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah, and I think maybe kind of speaking to your like things you would change, maybe that's like what affects your survivor points is if like you roll so many failures in a row, then you have to roll in a bad decision table.
I could see something like that.
And then based on that,
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Like,
Like,
maybe you hear a strange noise and go towards it. Doesn't maybe that's only you lose 1 survivor point, but like recklessly attack the killer is 2 or something like that. So there's different.
There's definitely space for changing.
Yeah,
up there.
something like that. So what I will say on the like things that I would change about it is I realized I fucked up in the running of this because the front end is supposed to be loaded with more choices. So like you have more potential to build up your survivor point when it's low. Because my goal, what I was trying to do with that was that like over the course of a horror movie, people get high or drunk or like they haven't been sleeping or they've been slashed by this serial killer. So it is harder for them to succeed. Like it's harder for Laurie Strode to win at Halloween by the end of the movie than it would have been at the beginning, you know? And so I was trying to take that into account, and I just fucked up by not giving you guys more reasons to roll earlier so you could increase your points. And it was a thing that like the killer had some kills under their belt, so they were getting better at it and like
right
knocking it down. And I don't think it was successful. So
that's an interesting GM tip. I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't be so strong as to say that you fucked that up. I think it's just an interesting reminder that like the best version of this game will include more choices at the beginning.
But I also like what you were saying about adding the clock mechanism, and kind of like what you were saying, Tim, about like divorcing the survivor points from the terror score and whatever, because I think if I lean in harder to the formula of a horror movie and like the tropes and everything, it's like, okay, this is the act 1, the turning point.
Yeah.
The terror score goes up, and then the midpoint it goes up by 2, and so by the last 15 minutes you have to roll a 6. So I think I like that idea, and like breaking it out into like a 3-act structure.
Yeah, something a version of this that I think could be like everything that's good here and just to the next level would be if the dice pool was like 1 dice more, maybe something like that to kind of balance that out a little bit more. If the terror score, I love what you're saying, like building in, maybe not a literal clock. I like calling it a terror score.
Yeah.
But maybe it goes up on some method like you're describing, acts in a film or something of that nature. But then, if you decouple that from the survivor point, and the survivor point then becomes more of an embodied, like, empowered choice that you're making of, like, what you choose to do and, like, where you might risk falling on that table, that could be pretty cool.
Interesting. Or maybe, like, if you have survivor points, you could sacrifice one to succeed on a roll.
I dig that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Because that's also in line with, like, slasher film. Like,
Yes.
I'm going to jump in front of the knife so Billy doesn't get gutted.
Yep.
Because I know that he's at 0 hit points or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like, I'm going to save the kid.
Yep, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and probably what I would change. A question I have for you guys, as we're talking about like things to make it better, tweaking.
Shoot.
Instead of like your fear making you lose the dice, what about like re-rolling a success? Like your
I don't
fear,
like that.
you don't
I
like that.
don't like that either. I think losing a dice feels more like what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you're not really playing with a full arsenal of choices because you're stressed and distracted by your fear. Is
Yeah.
like what that felt like to me. Whereas thematically, if instead it was about rerolling a success, I feel like that would be like, oh, I did it. And then I like fucked it up somehow because I was scared.
Yeah.
And that feels a little bit
That-
less.
That like
Yeah,
even
I
though
get that.
we're playing primarily the people in the slasher movie who get killed.
Yeah, right.
I do think that generally when playing role-playing games, you want to be playing some kind of good hero, successful person.
That's true.
Like, there's always places for games where bad things happen and it's fun and it's funny. But like in this game where you're trying to like make a likable person who maybe survives, I would hate for someone to roll the dice, get a success, and have the GM goes, actually, pushes glasses up nose, you're afraid of the dark.
Yeah,
you don't get to succeed at that.
That's a good
It's
point.
just a bad feel.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's
Even though mechanically-
maybe a holdover from
Yeah.
some other.
Mechanically, it's the same. It's just not rolling that dice at all.
Yeah. I think that may be a holdover from another tabletop game that shall remain nameless, and the concept of disadvantage.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always, and while mentioning disadvantage, you could roll 2 take lower in some instances.
Yeah.
But I think that overall the dice system setup of how many successes is how many dice you're rolling. That all feels good.
Cool.
Rolling, somewhere between 1 and 3 dice is nice.
Yeah.
Simple enough. You don't have to own 3,000 dice. No, I think you've hit the nail on the head in a lot of places here.
Yeah, I love that.
So, again, there's another thing that we didn't really get a chance to do it because there was only 2 players, but I could see a problem, and have foreseen a problem, is if you play with more than 3 players or so, that people could start dying, and then they're waiting around another 20 minutes for the game to end, which was one of my big things about Dread, of you can go out really early.
Yeah.
So we didn't get to it, and I'm not sure how I would make the mechanics for it, but in an earlier version of this game, when you died, you had one last ditch effort to affect something later on in the game. And I'm thinking of those moments where the guy that got killed off screen comes back and has that one final hurrah, something, or they were able to get a hold of the sheriff, and the sheriff comes back, and something like that. So we didn't get to it in this because we only had 2 people. But do you think that is something?
Yes.
Yes. I love that, because I think you wouldn't want to cheapen it by ruling out the idea that you could die.
Yeah.
Yes. You need
I think
to die.
You need to have that stakes be on the table, that you could be a PC who does die early on in the game, maybe even at Act 1. I really, really love the idea of then that person as a player needs to hang on and watch things unfolding and waiting for their moment. And it might be the whole game. And at the end, they come in with something. It kind of reminds me, I mentioned Blades in the Dark earlier, but it kind of reminds me of the flashbacky components
yeah, that's kind of
of
what I
that.
was thinking of, yeah.
Where with a certain mechanic, you could say well, actually, you guys, you're injured, you're hurt, you're down to maybe just 2 people, you're both dying, you're desperately trying to get out the front door, it's locked, what do? Oh, wait, player number 3 who died an hour ago has left you a fire axe, and you can bust your way out of the door.
Player number 3 is oh, he threw me out the window and I stumbled to the front door and broke it in, or broke out the front window.
Or
take control of
the
it.
killer is
flashback
about
moment.
to stab one of the players, and then suddenly their hand is grabbed by the destroyed fire burnt hand
Yeah.
of
Billy.
Billy, and he's no! And then, of course dies a second time, I guess, but
they always do.
but yeah, that's a fun moment from
That's dope. I
other
would
slasher
include that.
flicks that I'm a
Okay,
big
cool.
fan of.
Yeah, I'll put that back in. That's good. I think that's all my questions. The last question: table it or shelve it? I'm going to recuse myself from this one.
Oh my god! Table it.
I tabled my own game because I want to play it more.
I kind of have to table it,
Yeah.
to work out the kinks. So it's eh.
I would table it. I have actually been even more or less as it is. I know we've been talking about workshopping a few things and making some suggestions, but even as it is right now, I feel there's kind of there's a lot of horror games and there's a lot of micro RPGs to varying degrees of success, but I feel there aren't a whole lot of quick one-pager micro RPGs that are great for a Halloween movie night or a Halloween party, or hey, we're all going to get together, I've got a great party game for you guys. And this feels it slots into that void.
Cool.
Right alongside Dread in my book of
great.
something that I would happily bust out at a party.
I think I might. I'm tabling this for sure. I think if I'm ever going to get, I wish you could have been here, but if I'm ever going to get Matt to play another horror game, I'm pulling this one out. I think Matt would be okay with this one, even though he doesn't like Dread.
Well, they're so different.
Yeah.
Right? Because Dread is so, like, in media res. You're, like, in it.
Uh-huh.
And with this, the framing device of it being a movie.
Oh, that was, I played poor Tanner like a stolen car.
Yeah.
Because you milked every bit of that. Like,
it's
that went as far as it could go.
Yeah, because I was like, I expect him to die.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to get as much personality as he can.
It's fucking hysterical.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, and even QWERTY, like lean into those tropes when you play this. Like, it's... Yeah.
As with so many TTRPGs in general, and micro RPGs in specific, you're going to get out of it what you put into it, right? And, like, just embrace, it's a slasher movie. Have fun, you know?
Yeah, I think, going back to favorites, least favorites, I'm putting my most favorite as it's a movie. Mm-hmm. Because there's a layer of separation. This isn't you. This is an actor that you're playing.
Yeah.
And then then when QWERTY dies, I was like, that sucks. Max did such a good job making QWERTY, but, like, he was supposed to die.
He was gonna die, and QWERTY's actor can just come back in the sequel.
Exactly right.
Like QWERTY.
Like, no one's sad when Drew Barrymore dies in Scream because she was supposed to. You know.
Yeah.
And I like that, and I think that that's a good point, and that's I like that part of it. Like, I have a theater background, so
Yeah.
Do we have any plugs?
We do have a couple of plugs. I'm going to call an audible here and talk about this. So
Yes.
one thing is, of course, join our Discord.
Yes.
Available in our show notes and on social media. It's growing. We're having good discussions in there, having some meaty conversations about what constitutes TTRPGs and micro RPGs and one-pagers. Next episode that you guys hear as listeners, which will be in real-time meat space, like many weeks from now that we're going to do it, I think. But the next episode that you listen to is going to be, we are actually going to be playing our first guest micro RPG. So we are going to be playing...
We're gonna spoil it?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it, bro.
it's not spoiling. This is an
hype.
announcement.
It's hype.
Oh my god!
It's hype. It's time to hype it.
Fuck you, Matt. You weren't here.
Okay, in fairness, we didn't talk about this with Matt. We can cut this part out if you want.
Oh well, we'll see.
We talk about it.
Anytime someone says we're going to cut this and post on a podcast, I feel like you pretty much guarantee that it's going to make it to the actual.
I almost
called
always
an
do.
audible,
Yeah.
and we hadn't discussed it. So feel free to cut this part out. But anyway, assuming I was going to say what I was going to say. Anyway, next time on the podcast, we will be welcoming none other than Will Phillips, who is the author of Hexing Tide, a very cool, very freaky, Mike Mignola-inspired Hellboy-ass cryptid monster hunter freaky game. And it's going to be great, and he's going to be joining us on the podcast. More to come. Watch your socials.
Yeah.
I have a plug that I'm sure. Do we know when this is going to air?
The 6th, November 6th.
November 6th. Okay. It might be up by then. So I'm going to plug another podcast that I'm on.
Yeah.
I am the GM for live play podcast of that other tabletop game that
Serpents on the Beach?
Serpents on the Beach. Yes.
Sorcerers on the Beach, rather.
Sorcerers on the Beach.
Talking about the big D.
Yeah. You know I'm all about that big D. But it is called Lesser Evil. It is we're calling it a D&D-ish podcast where the good guys can't win, we hope. It's an evil campaign set in sort of modern-ish setting where Sauron won the War of the Ring and is now supreme overlord of the world, and it's set in a vaguely 90s aesthetic.
Nice.
Yeah,
That whips ass.
Yeah.
Is this on Spotify and everything?
Hopefully, it is coming this winter to a podcatcher near you.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Dude,
we just finished up the first season, and we're putting the spit and shine on it as we speak. So
Hell yeah.
So
I
hopefully
love that.
it'll be up by the time this airs. But if
Awesome.
not, follow us on Lesser Evil Pod. Evil Pod on all the socials.
Nice.
Awesome. Lesser
Yeah.
Evil Pod.
Yeah. We're evil_pod on all the socials. The
Got
show's
it.
name is Lesser Evil.
Got it.
They're all everyone works for an evil corporation, but they are entrance level, so they are the lesser evils.
I love that. Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's silly. That's good. All right. All good on plugs then?
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Table It. You can find us at micro_RPGs on Twitter or email us at microrpgs@gmail.com. Please submit games you would like to hear us play with a subject line new game. Our theme this episode is Chill Viber Jazz by Danny Dory. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom.